When you think of the word disability, what comes to mind? We typically imagine a medical diagnosis, an impairment living entirely within a single person. The UNCRPD shifts that perspective. Under their social model, an impairment becomes a disability only when it collides with a society that refuses to accommodate it. The roadblocks are specific: social stigma, active discrimination, and non-inclusive policies. Disability is the friction of an unaccommodating world. Historically, when society views a diagnosis as a medical defect to be corrected, legal systems follow suit by categorizing those individuals as incompetent. This medicalized framing provided the basis for guardianship laws, effectively transferring a person's legal rights to a state-appointed third party. That transfer of power is known as substitute decision-making. This legal mechanism strips away a person's authority to make their own choices, handing it over to a guardian or court. We saw a highly visible version of this with the conservatorship of Britney Spears. She lost control over her finances, career, and medical care. While her case made international headlines, this practice targets individuals with severe mental health conditions every day. Conditions like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder are frequently used as the legal justification for stripping a person of their agency. To dismantle these dynamics, the international community established a new standard. The UNCRPD, approved in 2006, explicitly protects individuals facing these exact mental health challenges. The UNCRPD legally reclassifies disabled individuals, shifting them from passive subjects of medical charity to active subjects of international law. They are now recognized as citizens endowed with fundamental human rights that cannot be ignored. This slide outlines Article 12 of the Convention. It guarantees everyone the right to equal recognition and legal capacity before the law, explicitly including those with mental health problems. Legal capacity is the authority to sign a lease for housing, enroll in an education program, and independently manage your own finances, pensions, and Social Security. Instead of stripping those rights away when a person struggles, the UNCRPD requires a model of supported decision-making. You keep your legal authority, but you receive assistance in navigating it. In this model, family members, defense attorneys, and social workers step in. They act as advisors and translators of complex medical or legal information. They are there to facilitate a choice, not to dictate it. Autonomy doesn't mean you have to make major life decisions in total isolation. It means you retain the ultimate legal authority over your own life, even when you lean on a support system. This brings us to the difficult ethical tension in mental health care, balancing perceived medical safety against a person's civil liberties. For decades, the standard response to severe mental health crises relied heavily on forced psychiatric treatment and involuntary hospitalization. The UNCRPD mandates a departure from those legacy practices. It asserts that quality medical care must be delivered without discrimination, and it must be rooted entirely in informed consent. Furthermore, Articles 19 and 21 guarantee the right to live independently. Individuals must have access to support networks right inside their own communities, rather than facing isolation in a remote facility. You cannot build effective mental health care on a foundation of coercion. Real recovery requires consent, agency, and community integration to preserve human dignity. But having these rights guaranteed on international paper does not instantly erase the legacy systems operating on the ground. Rolling out community-based support programs takes immense resources. Right now, financial constraints actively block the development of the infrastructure needed to replace old institutions. We also face a professional blind spot. Many medical staff and legal professionals do not receive the specialized training required to implement UNCRPD standards in their daily work. Beneath the lack of funding and training lies the deepest root cause: societal stigma. Negative attitudes restrict funding, which keeps patients trapped in legacy institutions, which only reinforces the stigma. International law remains powerless if the cultural and institutional bedrock beneath it stubbornly refuses to evolve. The UNCRPD is a structural blueprint. It requires active, daily defense to mean anything in practice. Advocates and social workers are on the front lines of this effort. They are the ones inside psychiatric hospitals and courtrooms, fighting to provide decision support, reduce stigma, and champion these legal protections for their clients. As a society, We must transition our health and legal systems away from models of coercion and toward models of consent. Human rights are never passively granted. They are upheld only when we actively dismantle the systemic barriers that divide us.